Hello you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I wanted to create a Q&A related to changing your life. So I went on my Instagram stories yesterday and I asked you guys to submit your questions, and I would say about 90% of you did not abide by that topic, and just stood out to me that obviously you guys did not want to see a video like that. So I actually took one of the questions submitted in that box. It said, first step to going from dreams to plans, and I found some other questions that really related to that, and I was like, ooh, we can talk about the startup phase of getting started with YouTube, getting started with your brand, all of that. I was like, we can turn this into a video, something that you guys want to see, not just something that I want to create, which is totally fine, guys. I'm here to give you what you want. So let's get started with this Q&A. By the way, we're doing a very simple video today because this little girl had surgery 2 days ago and I gotta keep my eye on her, and if I don't, then she has to wear a cone. She absolutely hates the cone. So we are just being a working dog parent over here. That's what this is. So let's get started. I can't decide what I will do in the future. I feel any job won't fit me. I am 19. Okay, for one, I absolutely hate the mindset of being like 17, 18, and then you get asked, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And it's like you have to pick what you're gonna major in college, or like what are your next steps in life. At that age, I feel like you just don't know. And at any point in time, you can totally change your career and don't ever feel guilty about it. But since we're talking about turning your dreams into plans, I wanted to get started with this question because if you have no idea what you want to do with your life, that's totally fine. And my best piece of advice for you would be to figure out what you actually like doing. Like, what is a passion of yours that you feel drawn to? Because there's something there. And when I was 5 years ago, guys, when I got started with my brand, I just realized that I was really unhappy with a lot of different areas of my life, and I knew that my career was one of them, but I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with my career. So I ended up making a list of things that I was not only good at, but things that I also liked, because I think there's a difference there. There can be things that you're really good at, but you don't absolutely love it. Like for me, I was working in the digital marketing industry, and I started out as a digital marketing consultant, but then I became a digital marketing content creator, and I was writing SEO friendly content for other people's websites. And I was really good at that. Like I was good at writing blog posts and just writing web pages for other people, but I didn't necessarily love it. And that's where I got started. So I realized, hey, I'm good at this. I have a passion for this, but not this specific thing. So let me turn it into something that I am really passionate about and I'm also good at. So if you're at that point where you're like, I don't know what my dreams are, I don't know what the next steps are. Like if you're really good at baking, maybe get started with baking, and I have no idea what that looks like. Like that could be creating an Instagram account, that could be creating a YouTube channel, that could be maybe you want to go and you want to work at a bakery. Like it can be whatever makes sense to you. Like obviously I'm not going to be the one with the answers, but if you have no idea what you want to do with your life right now, first start with your passions and then kind of overlap them with what you are good at. How many businesses did you have before this one? I'm asking because I've already failed a few, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I don't think I've ever shared this part of my story here on YouTube. I know that I definitely have on my website before, but I don't know if I've done it here in a video. When I was in college, I was a part of a sorority, and I held several positions in that sorority, and one of my positions for a semester or so was the website developer. So we needed a whole new website, and I created a new website for the sorority. I spent so much freaking time on that website. It was absolutely ridiculous, but because of that, I realized that I had a passion for websites, and I already knew that I had a passion for writing. Like I already knew that I liked that even before it became my career with being a digital marketing consultant and then a digital content creator. When I discovered that I liked websites, I actually created a blog of my own, and I think that I created 2 blogs for free. I posted maybe 2 or 3 times and then shut both of them down. And these were like a year apart. So I created one, created a few posts, was like, this is nothing, shut it down. Created another, created a few posts, shut it down. And then I got started with the content bug. And I got started with those websites as kind of a passion. It was a hobby. It was a creative outlet for me, but I never thought that I could turn it into a career. It wasn't until I got started with the content bug that I realized that this could be my career, that I could actually make something out of it. And then I really went full force with it, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about here in this video. So let me jump to the next question, which does relate to that. How did you know you wanted to have a YouTube career? I didn't, guys. I got started with my brand because I knew that I liked writing. I knew that I had value to provide to people. And at the time when I got started with the content bug, my main goal, my main vision was to create content that was going to help bloggers. Because I had worked in the digital marketing industry, I majored in marketing in college, I knew SEO. I thought that I had valuable information to share with bloggers if they wanted to do better with ranking in search and appearing in social media and all of that stuff that I was already doing for clients. I was like, why don't I help bloggers do this and then also become a blogger myself? So that's where I got started. I had no idea I was going to become a YouTuber. This was not the end goal of mine. Like, yes, big picture, this was the end goal. You know, like I wanted to be working for myself full time. I wanted to be creating content full time, not taking on clients, stuff like that. But I had no idea YouTube was going to be the way that I was going to get there. And this is exactly what I was talking about before. If you have a passion for something, if you're good at something and you have no idea what it's going to turn into, you have no idea what you want it to turn into, you just kind of have to take that first step and let it flow and see where you go. So I was a year into my blog when I decided to create YouTube videos. And the goal with my YouTube channel was just to enhance my blog posts. It was never to become a YouTuber. I never thought that I was going to ditch my website and just do YouTube full time. Like I had no idea that was going to happen, but I just kind of went with the flow, and this is where we ended up. And we're actually going to talk about pivoting here in a second. I feel like I'm like kind of jumping ahead of myself. Let's talk about actually getting started. That's like the passion side of things, like the lead up to really getting started. So this question, I want to start blogging, but I'm scared/stuck. I've learned a lot, but still don't know where to start. And I think that this is the part where everyone gets bogged down. Like sometimes when I'm replying to comments on my videos, I will see people say, I don't even have a YouTube channel yet, but your videos are so helpful. They're so informative. And that's great. I love hearing that. But at the exact same time, so many people get stuck in the research phase that they never actually do anything about it. It doesn't matter how much you know, it's what you actually do. And when I was getting started on YouTube, guys, I didn't do any research first. I did zero research first. I just kind of dove head first into the water and I went after it. And the exact same thing when I got started with my website. I knew I needed a WordPress website. I had no idea there was a difference between WordPress.com and a WordPress.org website, and I accidentally got the wrong one. I got a .com. You want the .org if you're getting started with WordPress. But I made a ton of mistakes when I was first getting started. I did not spend hours doing a lot of research. I just went and I did it. So if you're at the point where it's like you've done all the research, like this person said, they want to start a blog, right? Yeah, but I'm stuck. I've learned a lot, but still don't know where to get started. Okay, what I would recommend you guys do is create a list of all the things that you would need to start a blog, to start a YouTube channel, whatever you want to get started with. So let's say you're starting a blog. What do you need? You need to come up with your domain. You need to figure out your hosting. So are you going to do Squarespace, WordPress? Are you going to use GoDaddy? Like what are you going to do for your website? Because there's a lot that goes into it in terms of the build of your website compared to like the hosting of your website, and I'm not gonna dive all into that. What are you gonna talk about on your website? You need to then obviously create the pages on your website. You need to probably do a photo shoot for your website or get photos for your website. You need to figure out your content plan, your content strategy. What are going to be your supporting social media platforms? So are you going to have Instagram, TikTok? Are you possibly gonna do YouTube as well? Like what are you gonna do? And then the same thing goes with YouTube. When you're getting started with a YouTube channel, I mean, guys, it's just a checklist of the things that you need to do. You need to come up with your channel name. You need to figure out your niche, what videos you're going to create. You need to actually go to YouTube. Maybe you need to create a new Gmail account, but you need to definitely create a YouTube channel. You need to figure out what your profile picture is going to be, what your header image, like that graphic, that banner up top, what that's going to be. And then you need to get started with your YouTube videos. But the first place to get started is to make a list of all the steps and all the things that you need to do. Do not get bogged down in the, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. I have no idea where to get started. I want to turn this into my full-time job, and I need to create money plans, and I need to have income streams and all of this stuff. Like there's a lot that goes into it. Start with the bare basics. Okay, what can you do today to get started? If that's just purchasing your domain, if that is just creating a Gmail account to get started with your YouTube channel, do that today. How did you set reasonable goals early on? You guys have heard me say too many times that you need to set reasonable goals for yourself. Yes, it's important to have really big goals. So let's say you're just now getting started with a YouTube channel and one of your goals is to have 500,000 subscribers or maybe 1 million subscribers. It's great to have those goals, but in order to stay focused and really, I think you need little wins to keep you motivated to achieve the big wins that you want to have in the future, you know? So saying, yes, I want to have 1 million subscribers, that's great, but there's going to be so many other little stepping stones to get you there. And I think it's more realistic if you're just now getting started saying, okay, in the next year, I want to hit 1,000 subscribers, or maybe in the next year, I want to hit 10,000 subscribers. Like, it depends on your growth rate, honestly, and it's so different for every single YouTube channel. But one of the things that I did when I was getting started and when I was unsure of what goals to set, because yes, there were big bloggers that I would look at. So I used to really look up to like Melissa Griffin and XO Sarah. I would take a look at their monthly income reports and I would be really motivated by how much money they were making. But at the same time, I knew that that was not a realistic goal for me to set with the level that I was at compared to the level that they are at. So when you guys see my analytics, and if you are just now getting started saying, okay, I want to have the same amount of views as her per month, it might not be realistic. So what I would do is I actually really did some research and I dove into what creators were doing that were just a level above me. So let's say I had 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. I would take a look at other creators that had maybe 10,000, 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. I would use TubeBuddy and I would snoop to figure out what their views were like every month, how many subscribers they were gaining every month, and on average, like what were the views like on their videos. And that helped me to set realistic goals because I could see what the next step was. I wasn't just looking at YouTubers that had 8 million subscribers, you know, like I wasn't looking at YouTubers like that. I was looking at the next level. When you're not seeing results in new projects, when do you pivot versus have faith and stick it out? This is one of my most asked questions, not specifically this, but like, what do you do when you're not seeing results and how do you stick with it when you're not seeing results? And for me, my most common answer I would say is I always knew the bigger vision and I always knew that I could be successful. I knew that my brand could be successful and I stuck to my purpose, I stuck to my vision, and I put my head down and I got to work. But the reality is I have come out with things before that have totally flopped, that I've learned that I had to pivot and sticking it out wasn't worth it, you know? So for me, you guys know I've got my paid products, and I feel like especially over the last few years, you guys have seen me come out with successful paid products because like I've come out with my content calendar template, even before that, my blow it up blueprint. Like those are all newer-ish. They're really not that new, but those are newer products that you guys would have seen me come out with compared to when I was first getting started and I wanted to be a course creator at the time. I came out with a course. I spent hours on it, had several videos, came up with a whole curriculum, like put a lot of effort into it. And when I went to launch, it absolutely flopped. No one signed up for it. No one paid for it, and it flopped. And for me, I had to figure out, okay, do I trust in this product? Do I stick with it and possibly just like change the wording a little bit? Like maybe revamp the sales page. Maybe I just need to build my audience and trust that this is going to be successful. Or do I totally pivot and say, this obviously didn't work. Let's go work on something else. And for that, I totally pivoted. I just said, you know what, shut it down. It's not worth it. And something else is going to bring me to the next level that I want to get at. The exact same thing applies with your YouTube channel, your brand, whatever it is that you're working on. Deciding when to pivot and possibly like when to shut something down or when to just like change your strategy a little bit compared to when to stick with it. I think it's all relative. And I think you really need to take a look at your situation. So let me give you an example. If you've got a YouTube channel and let's say you've been working on it for like 3 years, you saw some growth and now it's stunted, it's totally stuck. Do you just stick with it, keep doing the same thing that you've been doing and hope that one day it's going to take off? Or do you pivot? Do you make some changes? For me, the most obvious answer is make some changes. Pivot a little, whether that is the topic of your videos, like maybe come up with new, different things that you can incorporate within your YouTube channel. Maybe you're all over the place and you need to niche down a little bit. Maybe you're too niche and you need to broaden it a little bit. Maybe your thumbnails you can work on, the title, like whatever. Find some way to change and figure out what is going to stick. And that's my best piece of advice, especially if you're getting started here on YouTube and you're not seeing a lot of results in the beginning. This is your time to experiment. Like before your audience gets used to your filming style, before they get used to your thumbnails looking a certain way, experiment. Because once your audience gets used to it, it's a little bit harder to branch out. And you may notice like when content creators change their thumbnail style, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's not like, oh, they went from one text to another text. It's like, no, they did it a little by little by little by little. And then it was like, boom, here's the change. Now it's different. And you didn't even really notice. It's a little bit harder to do when you've got an established audience, because you need to wean them into something, compared to when you don't really have an audience. That's your time to have some fun, play around, make a ton of mistakes, and try new things. Back to that most asked question, how do you find motivation on days when you don't have any? I've got a different piece of advice for you guys besides like, I just like knew it was gonna be great. Like that, yeah, I feel like this is just not a good piece of advice. So one of the things that I did, and I don't do as much anymore, but I really should do, is, you know, when I told you guys when you're first getting started, create a list of all the things that you need to do. And it's going to be the bare basics when you're first getting started, but there's a lot of work that goes into the build-up phase. And I know that when I wasn't seeing any results, and when I was constantly pivoting and trying new things, and I created a YouTube channel and I was coming out with paid products that totally flopped, you know, when I was in that phase, I was so much so focused on the build-up. I was so much focused on the back end and putting all of the systems and everything into place, because there's so much that has to go into it, like creating an email list, setting up email automations. If you're coming out with paid products, like getting a site for that, figuring out what you're going to charge, actually creating those paid products, marketing them, then creating the email automations that go with them. Like there's a lot that goes into the build up phase of being a creator. And I think that I was so focused on that when I didn't feel motivated, or when I wasn't seeing results, I wasn't so bogged down by that. I was more so like, okay, what's the next thing? Like I was just so focused on the work that I wasn't really affected by the results. But at the same time, for me, when I set my goals for myself, so like we talked about setting reasonable goals, when you've got your goals for yourself, it's not enough to just set goals. You need to actually have an action plan behind them. And this is one of the reasons why I love my Blow It Up blueprint, because not only does it analyze where you're at right now, but it helps you to set goals and figure out where you need to focus, and then create the baby steps and things that you need to do to achieve those goals. Because let's say you want to make $10,000 a month with your YouTube channel. That's great. That's awesome. You're going to go do it. But if you're just sitting on your butt, and if you're just creating one video a week, and that's the only work that you're doing to make that money, it's going to take you a really, really long time to make that money, you know? Like you can get started with affiliate marketing and apply for different affiliate marketing networks, and you can incorporate your links within your website, within your YouTube videos. You can start linking them on Instagram if you've got over 10,000 followers, and you can include swipe ups. Like there's a lot more that you can do to get to where you want to go, and you need to make sure that you're actually doing those things. So on days when I didn't feel motivated, you guys, I used to set goals for over the next 60 days. And I really need to go back to doing this, because like I feel like I've just kind of been on coast mode with my brand. And if you guys are on the vlog channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But every week I would make a weekly to-do list for myself. So not only filming YouTube videos, creating reels, talking on my Instagram stories, like stuff like that, I would of course incorporate those on my weekly to-do list, like the normal maintenance that needs to get done every week, but I would also incorporate the things that were going to help me to achieve my goals. And then on days when I wasn't motivated, I could fall back to my weekly to-do list and be like, you know what? I don't have the luxury of not doing anything today. I don't have the luxury of not being motivated. I need to be disciplined, and I need to get the stuff done that is on my weekly to-do list. So if you guys are at that point where it's like, I don't have the discipline, what I would say is, one, get my Blow It Up blueprint, okay? Just do that. But I want you to take your goals and break them down into action steps that you need to complete in order to achieve those goals. And if that means that you need to print out a monthly calendar and be like, this week, this is what we're working on, this week, this is what we're working on, and then put it on specific days, guys, like I feel like some of this stuff is so simple, but it's just the systems that you have in place that allow you to achieve the things that you want to do. Because for me, I am so easily overwhelmed. My anxiety can really get the best of me, but when I am very structured, when I am organized, it helps me to stay focused. And I think that's one of the reasons that I have been able to get my brand to this point, is because at each phase I was able to be like, okay, this is what I'm focusing on. So if I am at the, hey, I just need to create an Instagram account, I just need to create a YouTube channel, I just need to create a website, like that is what I worked on. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, but I need to make money, and I need to make connections, and I need to get featured on other podcasts and stuff like that. I wasn't worried about that because I wasn't at that phase phase yet. Focus on the phase that you are at and create to-do lists for yourself and start checking off those to-do lists. You're gonna feel accomplished with like every little check or every little scribble out. You're going to feel like you have those little wins that's going to keep you motivated. At least like that's what worked for me here. How to overcome what you think people will think of you and get on with your ideas. As you guys know, I absolutely love quotes. And one of the quotes, like whenever I hear something like this, one of the things that always pops up in my mind is that people are going to judge you no matter what. So if you go after it, people are going to judge you. If you sit on your couch, if you stay in your dead-end job that you don't really like, people are going to judge you. So are you going to let other people's judgment that is going to happen no matter what determine the result of your life? There is a reason why I've got "For Me" tattooed on my body, and I actually started writing this on myself when I was in high school because I am the type of person where I will do everything for everyone else. I am a 2 Enneagram. I am a helper. I like helping other people, okay? But at the end of the day, you can't live your life for other people. And when I was in high school and I was on the swim team, I would write "For Me" underneath my swimsuit where no one could see it as a reminder that I need to swim for myself. I need to do this for me. I can't do it for my coach. I can't do it for my teammates. I can't do it for my mom, my dad, my siblings, none of that. I had to do it just for myself. And ever since then, that's just become a constant reminder for me that I need to focus on me, because at the end of the day, I am only stuck with me for the rest of my life. And if I was 10 years from now sitting on the couch hitting the exact same roadblock that I hit 5 years ago, upset that I never made any changes with my life, upset that I didn't go after it just because of what other people thought, I would have really, really been letting myself down. So at the end of the day, I want you guys to ask yourself, is it worth it to not go after your dreams just because of the possible opinion of someone else? To me, the obvious answer is no, but it's really up to you. So that's all I've got with this little Q&A. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. If you guys want to participate in a Q&A in the future, I do them every Wednesday on my Instagram stories, but then also randomly here on my YouTube channel, especially when I've got situations that come up, like you can't even see her right now. She's on the floor right over there looking outside. Anyways, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, and I will see you guys back here on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about editing in the next video. I'm excited for that because I get a decent bit of questions around editing, so I think you guys are going to like that. But that's it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.